guys, welcome back to Don't Forget the Art. I am so excited that you are here, and I am really excited about this next project as always. Today we are celebrating Norman Rockwell. And to start this off, I'm going to tell you the supplies that I am using. Now, Norman Rockwell, he was a painter, and he used oils from as far as I could see. I am going to opt for color pencil because we're going to be doing a little bit more of a realistic picture. Now, obviously, just like always, you and yours are welcome to use whatever medium you feel the most comfortable with. But for me to get into some of those realistic pictures, I really am starting to enjoy colored pencil. So if you, like me, are going to use color pencil, then here's some things that you are going to want to have. You are going to want your reference photo. This is going to be mine. I will talk a little bit more about that later. You're going to want some kind of paper. You can use, your mixed media sketch pad. I got this drawing paper that has been sitting in my cabinet. I figured I would pull it out. You're going to want a pencil sharpener, obviously, regular pencil, colored pencils, erasers of some kind. I have a couple here, the kneaded eraser, as well as, kind of just a regular ordinary eraser. And I also have a ruler here. Again, whatever else, whatever medium you're going to use, I would recommend that you gather them. I am also using a kind of a regular picture, an ordinary picture. Why? Because one of the things that I love so much about Norman Rockwell was his ability to capture everyday life in his images that he is so famous for. And this picture was a picture that I snapped of my little critters snuggling up on a cold day here. And so this is going to be the reference photo that I use. Let me get through to the other side, and I will show you how I recommend that you attempt a realistic, kind of cartoon-esque, Norman Rockwell inspired piece. So to start this project off, I am using my reference photo, and the reference photo that I am using is an 8" by 10" printout of the photograph that I used. And I kind of used that very specifically because apparently that's what Norman Rockwell used for his reference photos. He used 8 by 10 photos that he then created his images, his pieces that he's so famous for. So he used reference photos. As I've told you, don't be afraid to use them. I know a lot of people talk about painting or drawing or whatever from memory, but a lot of artists, you'd be surprised, actually use reference photos, if nothing else, to get the positioning of the figures or the people, the faces, lots of things correct. There's nothing wrong with using reference photos. I am using my ruler to grid this out. Now, while Norman Rockwell's final pieces may have been much bigger than mine, I am going to transfer this over and kind of do a 1-to-1. So 8" by 10" is the reference photo that I'm starting out with, and I am transferring that over onto the piece of paper and creating my final product in 8" by 10" piece. Using the grids to help me to transfer that over. Don't be afraid of using the tools that you have available to you, and one of them would be using a grid system. It will help you to get an idea of proportion and making sure that things are placed where they're supposed to be so that your final product looks relatively close, similar to your starting image. So I'm using my ruler to do that. I'm gridding out 1" spaces, and that'll then again help me to see where the curve starts and ends at, and how everything is in relation to the original reference photo. Norman Rockwell was born on February 3rd, 1894, which is kind of cool because that means I share a birthday with him. So there was a little bit of a connection here with him. He was an American artist and illustrator. He was born in New York City, and he died up in Massachusetts. For nearly 50 years, he created color illustrations for the Saturday Evening Post, and those pieces have become such an iconic part of American art, but also American culture, and they're very popular. And I think one of the reasons that they're so popular is because they capture that idea, that nostalgic, that everyday life kind of moments. A lot of times when we think of art, we think of these grand landscapes or, maybe the royalty pictures. If it's going to be people, it should be royalty or things like that. But Norman Rockwell didn't see it that way. And I think we have so much of the kind of this iconic idea of American culture from this wonderful time period because of the way that he captured it so beautifully. When I'm looking at his pictures, there is a realism, of course, there. But there's also this kind of cartoon-esque kind of feel still to them. I don't know. There's just something so wonderful about them, and it brings me great joy every time I look at his works. I am using Prismacolor pencils. Now if you are using colored pencils, you can use anything that you want. Even the Crayola or Crazy Art brands, they're wonderful, whatever you have. I like the Prismacolor pencils. They tend to be pretty soft, but because of that softness, they blend easily, and I really do like that feature about them. So if you would like to try them, they have smaller batches. You don't have to go crazy and get a great big one because they do tend to be pricey, but I can tell you that they are worth it if you really like colored pencils. Now again, if you would like to try them, I would recommend that you get maybe one of their smaller packs, the 24 count or things like that. Now again, Norman Rockwell created most of his pieces that we know of from the Saturday Evening Post. He created those with oil painting, and you can certainly do oils, acrylics, you could use crayons, you could use pastels, oil or soft pastels. You could really use whatever that you wanted. I am using the colored pencils, and when I'm blending these, you really need to remember, just like watercolors and other things, that you're going to, because once you put the dark colors down, you really can't go over them very well, very nicely with the lighter colors. So start light, and you can always go darker to get the blending in. I think one of the challenges I like with the colored pencils is that, unlike painting where you would blend the colors, mix the colors on the palette, get the right color that you want, and then put it on the painting, with this you are going to be putting the colors, blending them, and trying to get that right color, that right shade, as it's going down. So, think about that. The other thing you're going to want to think about is the shading and the blending and things like that. If you have something like I have here with shadows, where the puppy's head is up on the pillow or under her chin. The other thing too with the blankets, there's all of those fold marks. So all of those kind of need to show up with some extra shading. And I probably could have done more here with it. The one thing I will say, if I had to do this project again, I probably wouldn't add as much detail with the blanket. It was such a sweet moment. Yes, it happened in January, and yes, that is Santa Claus on my blanket. Don't judge. I have the rest of my Christmas stuff picked up and put away. But these blankets are super soft, and they only get to come out at winter time. And really down here, just like many of you, I'm sure, winter doesn't really start coming with some of those cold fronts and things like that until after Christmas. And so I do keep some of our winter blankets out, and it was a cold morning this day. I know when you guys think of Central Florida, you're not really thinking of cold, but if you're not around here, it has been. We have actually had temperatures at or below freezing. We've had frost in the ground a few times in the morning. Now that's not during the day. It happens at night, in the morning, and this picture happened first thing in the morning. I'd taken my pooch out for her morning walk, or as we call it, a stop and sniff. She is an older pooch. But it was really cold that morning. We actually had frost on the ground, and she was so excited about it. Her tail was wagging the whole time. I think there was something about that crisp, cool weather in the air that really excited her. And when she came home, she just still looked a little cold. It was kind of chilly in the house. And when she curled up on the sofa, I put a blanket around her, and she didn't push it off. I think she actually liked it. And then she wound up kind of starting to doze off. And my sweet little kitty here, he insists that the two of them are best friends. I'm not sure she agrees with him all the time. Honestly, I think she just kind of tolerates him, which is really, really sweet. But he decided to kind of come and curl up with her. And as you can see, he is kind of a skinny kitty, and so, but he doesn't like to be curled up under the blanket, but he sure likes to curl up with somebody, probably to get that warmth. And so when she got settled in, he was more than happy to curl up right there with him. And it was such a precious moment. And when I was trying to figure out which piece to create for this artwork, I honestly thought of this picture right away. And I hope that it helps to kind of capture that Norman Rockwell moment in time feeling of everyday life. Hopefully you enjoy the picture that I chose. Hopefully you try one of your own, and I hope you have fun with it. And here is my finished product, guys, my finished picture. I really do like the way that it turned out. My sweet little kitty all snuggled up with his best friend on a cold winter's morning. Now I did sign this. I forgot to sign it in the video, but I did it a little bit in a Norman Rockwell style. His was printed and it kind of at the bottom. I opted to kind of keep my signature, but did it in a straight line, much like his. I hope you try this project. I hope that you have fun with it, capturing a moment in time. You know, that's just, I don't know, there's something so nostalgic about capturing just ordinary moments. And I think that's just something so wonderful about Norman Rockwell's artworks. If you do create one of these projects, I would love to see it. If you are over on our Facebook page with our other homeschooling families, I would love to see your pictures. You can post them there. If you post it anyplace else, if you could use the hashtag don't forget the art, that would be great, so that I can see your wonderful projects when they are complete, or even as they're in the work in progress. Nothing wrong with that too. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thank you so much for being here. Take care and happy arting, everyone.